Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So I have finally gathered enough tier 1 alpha catalysts to take Mr. Fantastic to rank 3. So that is exactly what we're going to be doing, and at rank 3 I think we can already start some somewhat decent playtesting. Now in today's video I'm going to be going over basically full Fantastic Force synergy benefits, and then we're going to head to Realm of Legends and check out exactly how well Mr. Fantastic does against Winter Soldier and Captain Marvel. In today's video I am going to be using Suicide Masteries, and as soon as this video basically is going to be uploaded, I'm going to take them off and I'm going to check out a different mastery setup for Mr. Fantastic, because let's face it, he is not the most suicide friendly character, and he might have another really interesting rotation with full Fantastic Force synergy that could extremely perform well, I suppose, if it all works out. So I'm definitely eager to check that out. So I'm not going to go over all of the Mr. Fantastic's abilities. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the basics, and if you want to, you can pause the video and read them out. But the base idea is that Mr. Fantastic with full Fantastic Force synergy does get quite a bit of benefits. His debuffs last longer, and also he gets kind of like a void-like ability where he deals 4% of his current attack as a damage to opponent per second for each non-damaging debuff. And obviously, since you have full Fantastic Force synergy, you get additional benefits like from Human Torch. After every single level 1 you will incinerate and now also heal block your opponents, and with Invisible Woman you also can inflict weakness on all your parries, which is definitely useful for Mr. Fantastic as it's additional debuff, and you get increased block proficiency. And with the Thing, we're gonna get to that one in a second, but with the Thing basically you do get a Fury buff after your level 2, which is a 15% Fury. However, if all of the champions are present in that synergy team, you do get a 30% Fury instead, so it is quite substantial Fury now. Definitely worth exploring that option as well. One thing I definitely do have to mention, that my Mr. Fantastic is not awakened. In my opinion, he does need his awakened ability quite a lot to get that extra offensive power gain and be able to spam his special attacks more frequently and keep that L3 Fury up for longer. But anyway, so we're gonna head in the first fight against a Realm of Legends Winter Soldier, and we're gonna check out how we can do with class disadvantage and only 2 of the pre-fight abilities active. So I will make a small mistake in this fight. I should be starting off with 2 level 2 attacks to kind of like get max debuffs on opponent and then go for my level 3s, but I'll kind of doze off a bit and I'll shoot off my level 3 at first. So that is going to be a mistake. Your game plan should be ideally to go for 2 level 2s initially to basically have triple of each of these pre-fight ability buffs active on opponent, and meanwhile you should be baiting out 3 of the same special attacks, preferably obviously level 1 because that's easier to bait. And once you have done that, basically your main setup is done. Also, because of Invisible Woman synergy, every time we parry, we do land that weakness debuff on opponent, plus the stun is a debuff in itself. So basically you get 2 debuffs, so you get more damage with your level 3, first of all, because you get bigger Fury for each non-damaging debuff on opponent, and second of all, because of the full Fantastic Force synergy, you constantly kind of tick away at the opponent. And even at rank 3 we can see that a degen basically is somewhere in between 300 to 400 typically, and that's not a small amount, and with that Fury it just increases as well. So it's definitely really interesting area to explore if you max out Mr. Fantastic, just exactly how much degen damage you are able to apply. Additionally, we do have Mr. Fantastic synergy with Sentry that affects all of the Science champions, and every time we inflict a debuff on opponent, we do place a power sting based on our current attack, and every time they do launch a special attack, they do take direct damage. So that is extremely handy way how to kind of complement your base damage as well, because all of the Fantastic Four champions champions are science champions, so that science synergy does greatly benefit pretty much all of them. And here, as we can see, we have 2 debuffs on him already, and the degen is doing its work. We're dropping our level 2. Level 2 hits decently hard. Suppose it's nothing kind of like outrageous in each of the individual damage numbers, but all of the damage over time effects though do add up definitely. And yeah, I just want to get this guy awakened to see how quickly I can spam my special attacks and how quickly I can get from level 3 to level 3 as well. And yeah, it's always kind of cool to spam your heavy attack in corner against opponents as well and just kind of stomp on them. And yeah, because every time you do drop your heavy attack, you do pause those debuffs and you refresh them as well. So that is something you kind of have to do. Obviously, Mr. Fantastic is not going to be a champion you want to use in debuff immune matchups or against champions that do shrug off debuffs. But if your debuffs are basically green-lighted in the fight, I think Mr. Fantastic will have quite a bit of versatility in a lot of endgame content, mainly due to that Petrify debuff and how it reduces opponents' health and power gain. Also, that debuff that reduces their defensive power gain is going to be definitely extremely useful, and is going to let you be more aggressive. Plus, if you're awakened, you can be able to spam more of your special attacks, and that all sounds like it's going to be quite a great time, but you do kind of have to get him awakened. So now at 130 hits in, I have sped up most of these level 3 animations just because I'm sure now no one really wants to sit through them. But yeah, here we can see that we are definitely putting out some decent damage numbers for a rank 3 champion with class disadvantage. There were several 10k heavy attacks with that Fury active, and here I'm gonna kind of switch off my strategies just to finish off the fight. I'm gonna be dropping my level 2 again and then level 1. I do get clipped here, unfortunately, a small slip up. It's still a bit tricky to get used to using this guy, but anyway, so here we're dropping our level 2, refreshing the debuffs, placing that shock, getting the Fury from the Thing synergy. And here we're going to drop another level 1. And that level 1 is actually what kind of inspired me to try and explore another rotation with Mr. Fantastic without that level 3 Fury. Just because you get so many debuffs. Basically, you get that weakness from parries, and then level 1 gives you Incinerate and the heal block. And all in all, it does seem like it's going to be a quite interesting way to play Mr. Fantastic, spamming your level 1s mainly and keeping up all the taunts, all the heal blocks, all the incinerates, all the everything else he places an opponent, because that was a whole lot of debuffs. Anyways, now we are heading in against Captain Marvel. This time we do not have class disadvantage. Additionally, this time we can activate all 3 pre-fight abilities, which will increase our damage output even further. So we should be able to close out this fight relatively faster. Again, the game plan is going to be fairly simple. We're going to go for a couple of level 2s at the beginning of the fight to get more of these pre-fight debuffs active. At the same time, we do want to bait out multiple level 1s from this Captain Marvel. And yeah, then we're going to see exactly how much damage we can do with this rank 3 unduped Mr. Fantastic. Now our first level 2 has landed, so she has 2 debuffs of each active, which is perfect. She also has 3 power stings ready basically. And yeah, Mr. Fantastic plays so many debuffs on opponent that you can pretty much always get full advantage of that science synergy with power stings. And yeah, so here we are slowly but surely getting to our next level 2, and just a couple of head stomps, curb stomps, I suppose. And here I do want to always try and land a parry before I drop my level 2s or 3s, just because all that parry duration still gives you extra damage with the Fantastic Force energy. And yeah, that is pretty much the things that kind of makes him so exciting for me. He seems a bit void-like in a way he kind of does his damage when he builds up his debuffs. Then you can also try and slow play him, just occasionally just heavy the opponents or drop them down. So there's quite a lot of interesting possibilities that might be available with Mr. Fantastic, and I'm definitely excited for that. Now I did make a small slip up here, unfortunately. I ate that level 1, but hey, you know, happens. Still kind of like learning the character. Anyway, so we're dropping our level 3 here, once again sped up the level 3 animation, animation. Now we have that big fury, so obviously we want to be as aggressive as we can while it lasts. And yeah, if we had our awakened ability, we could probably get from level 3 to level 3 while that fury is active, therefore kind of like have that attack bonus consistently and constantly throughout the fight. Unfortunately, that's not the case currently, because we do not have a Science Awakening gem for Mr. Fantastic. So for now, he is unawakened. But anyways, still we can see that Captain Marvel is already down to 34%, and she's just degening away consistently as well. Also, we have a huge away chance if we happen to mess up, so that is always handy as well. Now we're gonna drop our last level 3 of the fight, and then I'm gonna drop a couple of level 1s to finish off the fight. And man, those level 1 special attacks look so cool with those fireballs, and that animation just goes wild. But yeah, so here we are, another heavy attack. We have all the debuffs. We have Fury active. She's at 15%. I think I'm about to drop my level 1 here. Yes, we are. And that animation is just so cool. And the fight is going to be over in a couple of seconds here. And yeah, that will pretty much do for today. Let me know what you guys think of Mr. Fantastic. And if you liked today's video, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the buttons. And I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya.